Now a law about ethnic studies in school has sparked a wave of protests across that state.
You know, you've heard about this, and we're talking about it again today because it has gotten a lot of attention. Our Josh Levs is here to tell us about it all. Josh, first off, what exactly does this law say?
Yeah, I've been piecing through it because the language is very interesting, and as you look at it, you start to realize how incredibly subjective it can be. Basically, it limits some kinds of ethnic studies, but not all. Let's quickly show you the video, just one of the many pieces of video that we've gotten that are filled with these protests. We have students in schools protesting, and they're saying their education is not a crime. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play you a couple sound bites back to back from what the two sides are arguing this, and then along with me, you all are going to dig into this bill. Let's take a look at what they're saying.
They divided the kids into different races. So African studies for the African American kids, Raza studies for the Latino kids. Raza means the race in Spanish.
Tom is actually incorrect when he states that students are divided into these courses. The fact is very clear that these courses are open to all students. So any student of any race or ethnicity can take an African American Studies class and learn about the history of slavery and the civil rights movement.
So what exactly is not allowed? I'm breaking down the bill for you right here. Take a look. And the ones that are banned, and this is what it says in the actual legislation. You cannot have any classes that promote the overthrow of the government, nor any classes that promote resentment toward any race or class of people. Now look at this. You also cannot have classes that are designed primarily for one ethnic group. And this right here might be the trickiest to determine. You cannot have any courses in Arizona now that advocate ethnic solidarity instead of treatment of pupils as individuals. And what's so complicated and important about this is that schools aren't supposed to advocate in general, right? They're supposed to educate. So how do you decide if a class is advocating ethnic solidarity instead of individual treatment? Is it a matter of how the teacher is presenting it? Is it a matter of the curriculum? They'll have to decide in every case. And if it is determined, Kate and Jim, that in the end they decide, you know what, this school is doing something that's wrong, that school can have up to 10% of its portion of state aid withheld. And in these critical times for education, well, always critical times, but in these tough economic times for schools all over the country, that can really mean a serious hit for school funding. So this right now is what the stakes are, losing up to 10% of your money if your course violates one of these rules, guys.
Thank you, Bass, for providing us this opportunity to educate Americans about our nation's failure to secure our southern border and the consequences of that failure on the people of Arizona. Today, Secretary Napolitano is turning a blind eye to the same problem of which she herself once complained. She and the President are giving us the same answer that she once got. She's apparently had a change of position in more ways than one. Simply put, the feds aren't paying for the problem they created. Today, that costs Arizona almost $150 million per year in corrections alone, and many times that across all functions of state government. This is not defensible. While the President is making wisecracks and playing racial politics, some groups have suggested that Arizona be punished for enforcing laws that our federal government has failed to enforce. That is misguided at best. At worst, it is continuing political manipulation where earnest problem solving and protection of national security ought to be. Haven't we all had just about enough? We are a nation of laws and the rule of law, not of men. Our purpose today is to help the rest of the nation understand the crisis which confronts our state. Our nation's government is broken. Our border is being erased, and the President apparently considers it a wonderful opportunity to divide people along racial lines for his personal political convenience. It's fair to ask whether he intends to be the commander-in-chief or the comic-in-chief. Since the President's joke was so inappropriate, I suppose if I wanted to join in the comedian game, I could suggest that he not give up his day job, but Unfortunately, though, he isn't doing very well at that one either, so. Lastly, to those who wish to inflict economic harm on hardworking Arizonans because we have the temerity to enforce federal immigration laws, I say, come spend some time here with us. But first, put down your talking points and media interpretations of our law. Simply read and understand our statutes. Then pay a visit to Robert Krentz's family in Cochise County. Do a ride-along with the Pinal County Sheriff's Deputy in one of the many drug smuggling corridors. I'm announcing the launch of a new website called securetheborder.org. This website will help educate the rest of America and perhaps our political leaders in Washington that this is not an immigration crisis. This is a border security crisis.